Alright, a new year has come and an old one has gone, which means it's time for my first video of 2024, and I've decided to talk about our boy Kieran. Now, assuming you have defeated the Indigo Disc, you will know Kieran has metamorphed from the at first innocent, shy, and slightly unstable boy we first meet in Kitakami. In Indigo Disc, however, at the Blueberry Academy, he has taken the whole all that matters is winning to a whole new level that we haven't seen. I don't think we've ever seen this in a very long while. It's almost like to him, victory is life.
Victory is life! Victory is life!
Yeah, you get it by now. But back to Kieran. I looked around the internet and some people seem to assume he is a weird psychopath kid acting out, using how he reacts to Ogerpon wanting to go with the player character instead of him, and then later on him yeeting the Master Ball as soon as he saw the Terra Turtle look at us and take less than 5 steps towards him. But can you blame him? I mean, we are in part responsible for his desperate tendencies. Let me explain before you start telling me I'm wrong.
Is there more to us than the words we say, the games we play? Can we know that we're not dreaming?
So, I made a poll once again on my channel, and despite my small audience, a full 100% of people wanted me to talk about Kieran's character. And, you know, Kieran gets a pretty bad reputation. Some people really don't like him, because he sounds and acts like an entitled kid, going full psycho and adding more bad boy points to him when he used the Master Ball on the Terra Turtle. Now, I did make a video a while ago talking about how we were a massive cause in Kieran's downfall, and now if we just told the truth to him from the start, maybe we could have at least helped him. If not save him, then at least mitigate some of the emotional problems he's having with himself in Indigo Disc. And while my opinion hasn't changed, after going back, looking around, listening to more opinions, I made some major opinion changes myself regarding him as a character and a person. But the first thing that people need to learn before making their judgments of Kieran and how he acts is they need to realize one thing. Kieran is not a child. He's a 14-year-old teenager. Yeah, he's not a child. He's a teenager, a very young teenager, so keep that in mind as we examine his character and why he acts the way he acts. When we first meet him, he's meek, shy, amazed by us and our battling skills. He thinks we're really cool because we beat his sister, who is way stronger and better a trainer than him, at least in his mind. And when we partner up with him, he wants to talk to us, but he is too shy, too unwilling to take the first step to actually trying to make a friend. And Carmine has to basically bully him to do it. In fact, she does a lot of bullying for the first and second parts of the Teal Mask. It isn't until after he finally snaps does she stop going full psycho on him. Carmine being his older sister, many might say she's just doing sister things, and anyone who has an older sister will relate because they're always bullied us in their sister ways. And they know younger brothers can't really fight back outside of the accepted brother responses. But the thing is, Carmine takes it a bit too far. She legit goes freaky on Kieran when he makes one little joke about her. But I digress. Back to Kieran. Throughout the story, he reveals a bit more about his personality and who he is as a character, but only with us, when nobody is around, because he wants to relate with us. When he starts opening up about the ogre, he says that it's cool, because it battled 3 opponents all by itself. He also says when he was little, aka when he was a kid, he would go up to the mountain to try and see this ogre, but never once did he meet it. Now, nothing is wrong with admitting you find the bad guy cool. I mean, look at Star Wars. How many kids walked away from the first Star Wars movie that was released pretending they were Darth Vader? How many kids liked Boba Fett when he made his first appearance? And he tried meeting this ogre, so to him, this story was just that, a story. The second sign, he reveals that he likes the ogre again, because it's strong. And he admits he wants to be strong just like the ogre. He wants to be strong enough so that he can do things for himself, instead of relying on others to do things for him. In Indigo Disc, we learned from Drayton that before he met us, Kieran would just run for cover behind his sister if you even read a book too loudly around him. He's got insecurities. He thinks he's weak and he needs others to help him. And for a teenager, those insecurities aren't something they want to admit publicly. To him, it would be a sign of weakness, and he doesn't want to appear weak. So, what does this have to do with being a teenager and not a kid, you may be asking? Well, how many of you remember what you were like as a teenager? I'm an adult, so I know how to control my emotions, how to act in situations, and how to understand other people's motivations and reasonings, and even ask them questions to understand. Teenagers, however, aren't like that. They are at an age where they are discovering who they are as a person, what they value, what they want to be, what they want to do, and so many other things. And at that age, their brains are still undergoing very important growths. And for teenagers that are not mentally mature, or suffer from issues that they don't want to share or tell others, or feel unable to express themselves freely, those teenagers will often lash out or act out without thinking. Doesn't that sound familiar? At one point, doesn't Kieran lash out and act irrationally by stealing the teal mask, and even admitting that he doesn't understand why he's doing what he's doing? But when he loses the battle for the teal mask and punches the monument, he finally starts to calm down, because that steam has run its course, and he starts to think more rationally again. When he battles us to try and keep Ogerpon for himself, many have said he is toxic for trying to take her choice away from her. But look at it from his perspective. He also wanted Ogerpon. But how can he stack up to you to win her over to him? His first encounter with her, she shies away and rejects him in fear when he offers her her mask back. You saved her, however, from the loyal trio. You saved her masks. You protected her the entire time, escorted her all over Kitakami and kept her safe. The one thing he did for her was off-screen, so all she had was his word to go on. He really had no other hope if he wanted to keep her for himself. And when he loses, he acts out again, crying because of course he'd lose. He felt deep down he knew he had no hope of beating you. Now, while the characters aren't given a definitive age, the general consensus is that Nimona is around 16 years old, with Arvin and Penny being close to that range as well. Arvin had to grow up the fastest, both emotionally and mentally, given the absence of parental figures and having to care for himself and Mabostif. Penny had to grow up too, because of the mistakes she made with Team Star in the past and reconciling with herself. Nimona, well, the jury's out on her when she goes full barbarian, refusing to take no for an answer from us. The point is, Kieran hasn't had that kind of brain programming moment or time period that helps him align his personnel thoughts and who he is as an individual with those around him and the world around him yet. He still needs time to grow and help to grow as a person, but he isn't getting it properly. No thanks in part to Carmine being Carmine and us being us. How are we to blame? Well, let's face it, he has a point when he mentions how you're practically perfect at everything. Between the two of you, he makes friends as well as a snail can run the marathon. He has all the self-confidence at battling for majority of Teal Mask as Nimona has of accepting no for an answer, and He feels like he's never trusted to do anything for himself or by himself, which, if you think about it, how often is he given the chance from our perspective? Meanwhile, you make friends easily thanks to battling. You have luck up the wazoo, you have powerful Pokemon. There is nothing you can't do, it seems. It really is, like he says, you're the hero of the story. And in a majority of Pokemon games, you are the hero. The player character has zero flaws. You win every battle, you master the generation's gimmick, you defeat people who've been doing this stuff for years, while you're technically, and again, in canon, you're only a few days away from home at most, and you're almost in all situations 10 years old. So, between us being perfect and everything he wants to be but is unable to be, Carmine's good intentions, mind you, but poor executions with her reasons, feeling weak and inferior, living in the shadow of others, and finally losing the one entity that he felt he related to, Ogerpon, to you, despite knowing you would be the better trainer for her and knowing she wants to go with you deep down. And finally, being a teenager that hasn't had the chance to mature yet, his brain just breaks, and he lashes out. At the end, he declares that he cannot and will not lose to you ever again. He wants to win and be the strongest. Teenagers will often pursue goals to the extreme, even if it's unhealthy. And at his age, with all that's happened, he is prone to acting out irrationally, without thinking or even out of character. This all comes together with him just pursuing one goal. One singular goal, no matter what it takes. Becoming the strongest. He doesn't care what he does, what he has to do, what bridges he has to burn, or who he has to crush. He wants to win. And he does win. But it's self-destructive. He loses sleep, he trains excessively, he looks down on others who don't match up to his level or go the distance like he does. And when he loses to us again, his whole world, his whole image that he spent so much dedication building is shattered in an instant, and he starts breaking down again. When we go to find Terra Turtle, he's obsessed with it. He's hyper-focused on it, ignoring the dangers of Area Zero. He doesn't care we're going into unknown territory, and we need to be careful. He only cares about getting that legendary Pokemon, because that's all he has left, he feels. We have everything he wants. He has nothing to himself that he can claim over us. And when Terra Turtle awakens, sees us, takes 4 steps toward us, he thinks history is repeating itself again, and so throws the one item he knows will ensure his success with capturing the Terra Turtle, the Master Ball. So yeah, Kieran may be many things, but we must understand that he is not thinking like a rational adult most of Teal Mask and Indigo Disc. He's thinking like an emotionally immature teenager, prone to lashing out and acting weirdly because he's at that age where he isn't going to think clearly. He's going to suffer mood swings. He's going to act out, act weird. Does he deserve the bad rep he gets? No. I've heard some say he needs to see a therapist. Maybe he does, but we're not exactly helping him out with what we do if you think about it logically. What he needs is a friend, which is deep down what everyone needs. And it's a good thing that you and he make up eventually, because he finally snaps out of his inferiority complex and shows he's finally maturing when he accepts that he isn't the one to capture Terapagos, but you are at the end of the Indigo Disc. But that's just me. What are your thoughts? Comment them down below, like and subscribe, and share the video, and I'll see you all next time. Take care of yourselves, everyone. Bye bye! Are you really going to smash that subscribe button?
on you. There's nothing more that I need to do. If you put your hands in front of mine, we'll be shining